Let's talk about granny squares. This is just some things to make your life a little easier when you're doing granny squares. It doesn't matter the size. If you're only doing a 1 or 2 round granny square, what I'm fixing to tell you won't really matter. But because you can see this is 1, 2. First of all, when you're looking at this, see how it looks like it's starting to spin. What? The reason that is because crochet stitches lean to the right if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, they lean to the left. Um, so when you work in the round continually, all the stitches start leaning. And you can see this. And I'm sorry if you hadn't noticed this before, because now every time you see a granny square, if it's leaning, you're going to be like you won't be able to unsee it. But to keep this from happening, and first of all, let's look like 1, 2, see 2, 3 rows. It's not, doesn't look too bad yet, but once you get past 4 or 5 rows, it totally looks like we're leaning. So the way that you keep that from happening is you can do it every couple of rows. I do it every row, just so I remember to do it. Like I keep it consistent. But it doesn't matter if you only want to do it every few rows, then that's fine. But what you need to do is after each round is flip to the wrong side, do a round, and then flip to the right side, do a round, flip to the wrong side. So if you're a beginner, what you would need to do is mark, once you've got it going, get a stitch marker and mark which side is your right side, or just put a marker on one of the sides so you know um, that you flip the side when you work the round. Okay, that's the number one helpful thing um, for granny squares, is flipping it so you don't get the tilt. The next thing I'm going to show you is how you can start and not have to do the magic circle, which people um, hate. If you don't do it consistently, you're going to hate it. So this is the magic circle. Let's show you. So underneath, or this is how I do it. There's a bunch of ways to do it. Underneath, I cross, and you can see I'm holding with my extra fingers. So underneath, I cross. On top, they run parallel, and then I clamp it down with my fingers. On the parallel lines, I go under the first one, grab the second one, pull it up, and twist. So that's your magic circle, and then you need to chain one to lock it. And you can go back and watch that again. Also, you can YouTube. There's a million different ways to do it, and there's so many videos on how to do it. It's really fiddly, fidgety, however tedious. And if I don't do it consistently, then I have to go back and watch a video. Like if I wait a few months and don't do a magic circle, then I have to go back, or yes, magic circle. I'm getting it mixed up with magic loop. Okay, if you don't want to do that, you can just do a regular slip knot, however you make that, because again, there's a million ways, and just chain 4. I like to chain 4 because it gives me lots of room. The magic circle is cleaner, so you chain 4 and then slip stitch, and then you have a little circle that you can work into. So we're going to just go with this. So no matter the circle that you make, whether it's magic circle or this chain 4 slip stitch circle, you're going to need to chain 3 after that. This is what I choose to do. Some people chain 2. It is whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent throughout. Okay, now what I'm going to make sure I do is make sure that my tail, and you have to do this with magic loop as well, make sure that it's in a position where you're crocheting around it, and that allows you to tighten up your round once you're done. Okay, here's my center, and here's our start. Chain 3, which counts as 1 double crochet. Here's second double crochet, and second double crochet, and here's your third double crochet. Okay, there's 3 double crochet. I'm doing an extra big, this is DK weight yarn, and I'm using what I would normally use for worsted weight because I want you to be able to see. I don't want it to be tight. So there's 3 double crochets. And the first round of a granny square is 4 sets of 3 double crochets with chain 2 in between each set. So here's our chain 2, and now we're going to start our next set of double crochets. There's the second set. There's our next chain 2. Here comes our third set. And I got to my bird's nest. I'm just using scrap yarn. Granny Squares is really good for to use up scrap yarn. Okay. So 1, 2, that's our third set. We're going to chain 2 and begin our fourth set of double crochets. Okay, there's our fourth set of 3, and here's our last chain 2. Tail out of the way, and then you're just going to slip stitch it in from where you began. And it doesn't matter, don't get hung up on this. You can slip stitch there, you can slip stitch there, here, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be crocheted on top of in the next round. So there's our slip stitch. Okay. So now you can see this is our first round of our granny square. There's our 4 sets of 3 double crochets, and your chain 2 spaces are what makes the corner of your square. So there's round 1. And since I'm also showing you how to change colors, we're going to change colors here. You can leave this little hole in the center of your granny square. It's this personal preference, or you can tighten it up to close the hole. If you do that, then you need to tack this. You're going to have to sew it around and weave your tail in because it won't hold. It'll spread back apart eventually. If you don't want to change colors, you just need to get to a corner space before you start. So since we're going to flip every round, when we turn this, we're already in a corner. So you would just chain 3 and start your doubles. Well, let's just continue on, and then I'll show you how to change colors in a different round. Okay, so there's our first set of 3, and we're in a corner, so we're going to chain 2, do our next set of 3 double crochets. Okay, there's the corner. Now we're going to jump straight over into the next corner and do the same thing. Some people like to chain 1 in between their sets, like right here. I don't, because I like a tighter granny square. Totally personal preference. You can play with it and see what you like better. There's our chain 2, next set of 3. Okay, so you see we have 2 corners. Jumping straight over to the next corner. It's the good thing about crochet, you can just yank it out if something's not going right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I feel a knot coming, or a tangle, something. Oh, just a little tangle. Okay, 3, chain 2, and 3. Okay, there's our third corner. We've done 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to jump into the last corner. Three, chain 2, 3. Okay, there is our last corner. So now we're going to slip stitch into here. Boop, and chain 3 to go to your next round. You're always going to chain 3. So if you were sticking with the same color, you're going to flip your square again, And you can see we're in the center section here, which will be 3 double crochets. So we've already got one with the chain 3, so we'll just do 2 more, and then you just keep going. But I'm going to show you how to change colors on this round. So after you've, well, I'll show you the slip stitch again. Do the last double crochet in this corner, and then slip stitch. And then to tie off crochet, whenever you're ending, you always chain 1. And of course I didn't get any scissors, so you would cut your yarn and then just pull your hook straight up and tighten. Okay? And then you would get your next color. And this is personal preference, but I always like to start in the corner. And I'm leaving, it's like a 3-4 inch tail. You can leave it however long you want, but you want it long enough to be able to weave in. So this is so you don't have to weave in so many tails at the end. I go into the corner space, put that loop over my hook, pull it up, and start the chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm holding my tail with my working yarn so it gets worked in as I go. So here's the next double and the next double, and you can see my tail is completely woven in. So what I'll need to do in the end is just chop that off, and then I'm going to chain 2 and do the next 3. Okay, now you can see that the stitches where I worked in my tail, it's a little thicker. You'll never notice it, and it beats weaving in an extra set of ends. Okay, so now we're going to continue around, and your granny square after the 3rd row is going to be the same forever, however big you're doing it, which is 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles in each corner space, 3 doubles in each side space, and your side space will increase each round, so you'll do more of these. And then your corner again, the 3 doubles, chain 2. Could you give me enough yarn? What is happening? Okay. So I'm just going to continue around. There's a side space. We're doing 3 doubles, and I just go straight in. I do not chain in between. Right a corner will be the 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. This yarn is on my last nerves. Well, I guess that's what I get for letting it sit around in the box and get. Okay, you see how we're working our way around. I'm coming up to the tail from my last square, and I'm going to catch it. So you'll see we'll start to catch it on our 3 doubles. So you can see we're catching our tail where we started the granny square, and you'll just continue to work over it. So straight into the corner and do your 3 doubles. And then chain 2. And 3 more doubles. And then this is our last side space. So do your 3 doubles in there. And we're back at the beginning. So you're going to slip stitch wherever it is that you slip stitch, chain 1, and then cut your yarn. So there we go. And so now we have 2 side spaces on each side. So the next round there'll be 2 of those, and then the next there'll be 3 and 4, all the way out to however big you make it. But the granny square is super easy. It's just repetitive once you get past the second round. It's super easy. I hope this helps.